Have you ever found yourself replaying an argument in your head, maybe hours after it happened, and then, bam, you suddenly think of the absolute perfect thing you should have said? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into that very human habit, why our minds create these super detailed scenarios that never actually happened, and what it tells us about how we're wired.
Right? We have all been there. You're just standing in the shower, minding your own business, and then it hits you. That brilliant comeback you needed 3 hours ago. It just arrives, fully formed. That exact feeling, that's what we're getting into today.
Or, maybe for you it happens at night. You're just trying to get to sleep, but your brain decides, nope, this is the perfect time to host a film festival of mental reruns and what-if scenarios. This is when those imaginary worlds really come to life. And our brains, they don't just stick to one kind of story, do they? We're replaying old fights, we're writing the script for that perfect zinger, we're daydreaming about getting that promotion, or, we're spiraling into every possible worst-case scenario. It's like we're running a 24/7 movie studio right inside our heads.
And this, right here, is the most important part. That little jolt of joy you get from an imagined success, or the sting of embarrassment from a replayed mistake, the anxiety from a disaster you just made up, all of it feels incredibly real. To your emotional system, a vividly imagined event can feel just as potent as a real memory.
So if this all sounds painfully familiar, if this is a constant soundtrack playing in your life, I really want to make this clear. You are not alone. Not even close. This is a totally normal and deeply human way of thinking. And get this, it's not just your mind wandering off for no reason. There's actually a powerful purpose behind it all. This constant stream of internal chatter, it's a sign that your brain is hard at work doing exactly what it's supposed to do, trying to figure out the world around you.
Okay, so that brings us to the big question. Why? Well, you can think of your mind as your own private rehearsal space. It's like a simulator where you can run through life's challenges before they even happen.
In psychology, this is called mental simulation. And honestly, it's one of our species' greatest cognitive superpowers. It's this incredible ability to play out different futures, to strategize, and to problem solve, all from the safety of our own heads. And this breaks it down perfectly. Your brain uses these simulations for 3 main things. First, to prepare for something tough, like a job interview. Second, to plan for social stuff, like what you're going to say at a party. And third, to process difficult emotions from something that's already happened. It's basically practice for real life. So instead of thinking of this as some weird quirk you have, try to see it for what it is, a fundamental part of being human. I mean, this is an evolutionary tool. Think about it. Our ancestors were probably mentally rehearsing a hunt or figuring out how to deal with a rival. This ability to simulate outcomes gave us a huge survival advantage. But there's a catch, isn't there? This amazing, helpful tool can sometimes get stuck on a loop, and that's when it goes from being productive planning to a really harmful cycle. And you can see the difference so clearly here. On the one hand, you've got helpful planning. It's focused on solving a real problem, and it usually leads to some kind of action or insight. But on the other hand, you've got the harmful loop. That's driven by anxiety, it gets stuck on things you can't possibly control, and in the end, it just makes you feel worse. And the key reason for that harmful loop? It almost always comes down to a desire for control. When we feel powerless or uncertain about something in our actual lives, our brain tries to fix it by running the scenario over and over again, trying to somehow master the uncontrollable, even if it's just in our imagination.
So what is your mind really trying to do with all these rehearsals? Let's dig into some of the hidden, deeper reasons your brain might be doing this.
See, when you're stuck in one of those loops, your brain isn't just spinning its wheels for fun. It might be trying to finally process emotions you've pushed aside, or maybe it's trying to make sense of a really confusing social situation, or it could just be trying to find a way to cope with a deep-seated fear about the future. And here's a really interesting thought. If this sounds a lot like you, it's often a sign of a highly active, really engaged mind. People who are naturally introspective, analytical, or creative, well, they tend to have a much busier inner world, which makes them way more likely to run these kinds of detailed mental simulations. This quote just sums it all up perfectly. At the end of the day, this whole complex mental process, with all its good sides and its bad sides, it might just be your brain's very earnest attempt to understand a messy, complicated world a little bit better. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. The next time you catch yourself winning that argument in the shower or replaying a conversation for the 10th time,
Just pause for a second and ask yourself, what is my mind really trying to solve right now? The answer might tell you a lot more than the imaginary scenario itself. Thanks for joining me.